It was probably about 2 or 3 years ago, the first time I had a student come up to me and ask me a question that I did not understand at all. The student came up to me and said, "Father, would you like to be a part of my Be Real?" I didn't know what that meant. I don't know what you're talking about, but sure, why not? And took a photo, and then that's all I knew of it. And then it just started to happen more and more. Students would be here, they'd be around, and they would want to have me as a part of their Be Real. Okay. Well, upon research, and probably most of the college students here would absolutely know what I'm talking about. It's an app on your phone, and you get a notification. So this is me explaining to other old people what's going on here, in case you're wondering. Just give us a break, if you would. All right, and so you get a notification on your phone, and it basically gives you then, from that point, from what I understand, 2 minutes to just take a snapshot of what you're doing at that time, so that you can give a more real look into your life to the people who follow you on the Be Real app or whatever that would look like. They say that in the year 2022, 56 million downloads of the Be Real app took place. And so there's a desire to show people who you really are, I guess, is behind all of that. I think that sometimes the Gospels and the Scriptures and the people who are mentioned in the Gospels and in the Scriptures, they'd probably rather not be remembered forever and ever for who they really were. Point in case, Thomas today. Thomas the unbeliever, Thomas the one who says, I didn't see it, I don't believe it. Being very real, and John, who wrote today's gospel, makes sure to mention this in his gospel, in his writings. And then there was Thomas, and Thomas, you see, he wasn't there. And we told him about it, but he didn't listen to us. Oh no, unless I see the marks in his hands and put my hand into his side, unless I am there, unless I can see it, unless I can touch it, I'm not going to believe. Thomas was probably thinking, did you really have to include that? Did you really have to include that? Well, I, for one, would be very grateful to John that he included that story about Thomas. And yes, maybe Thomas gets that bad name, Doubting Thomas, when we're with friends and somebody doesn't believe something, we will call them Doubting Thomas. Yes, he has that negative name perhaps, but I want to say that it is Thomas more than the rest that helps me then fall into the category of blessed are those who have not seen and believed. If Thomas would have walked into that room and simply said, "Oh, you've seen the Lord? He's risen? Wonderful. I hope I get the chance to see him. This is fantastic news." I don't think then that Thomas would have been very real. I think it would have been difficult for me then to trust the way I trust in the witness of the apostles had it not been for one like Thomas, who is very much probably like you and I. We like to have things verified. We like to see things for ourselves. And yet we know that at times we have to take the word of others, or life would be very difficult. We wouldn't be able to really function at all. I am 51 years old. I guess that's what my mom and dad tell me. Maybe I'm a lot younger than that, huh? Perhaps I was a child genius. And so they entered me into kindergarten when I was 2, you know? Then I graduated high school at the age of whatever that math would be, child genius, 15. I don't remember being born. I wasn't able to look at my watch and say, oh, okay, I see it's this day. Life is filled again and again and again with needing to believe things that are told to us by people we trust. I've come to trust the witness of the apostles in my belief in the resurrection of Jesus Christ, in large part because of the witness of Thomas, who was indeed very real. Many of the saints have even written about the importance of his being real that day, being like you and I, so as to then give us that testimony to help us believe. And I love the way the gospel ends. It says that Jesus did many other signs. He did many things in the presence of his disciples that are not written in this book. But these things that are written, they have been written so that we may come to believe that indeed Jesus Christ is Christ, that Jesus is the Christ, the Son of God, and that through this belief we may have life in his name. And that's the end goal, is to have life, to have true life, not this false life that many of us walk with from one distraction to the next, but to have life because of the life of Jesus himself. And so let us collectively thank St. Thomas today for his doubts, for his profession of faith, my Lord and my God, after seeing Jesus in the nail marks. Let us give great thanks to Thomas for his being real.